Hey guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, "This is the Real Reason Women Are Control Freaks." And guys, this article, which obviously is written by a woman, is where she goes into this whole thing complaining about how guys in a scenario where the husband is there in the house raising the kids and all that, and the guy just simply will never measure up in the way, in her view, he should in terms of household chores, household duties, handling the kids, all those type of things. And that basically it's our fault that they are labeled or considered to be control freaks. Like no matter what a guy does, he can't measure up to their impossible standards of having the house clean in the way that she wants, doing the laundry in the way that she wants, packing a suitcase in the way that she wants, all sorts of things. And I guarantee you there isn't one guy watching this video that has either been married or is married right now or live with a girlfriend where some of this stuff doesn't hit home. Okay? And I'm doing this, guys, aside from the fact that it's entertaining, as a warning to a lot of young guys that have yet to, who maybe have girlfriends and they're thinking about maybe one day moving in with them. I'm letting you know what you can expect down the road if you decide to take the leap and do that. And also what you can expect if you go ahead one day and get married. Guaranteed, if you get married. I mean, you can set your watch to it. Now, I've warned you countless times about that from the financial perspective on the negative impact if the marriage goes wrong, which statistically usually does. But this is more dealing with stuff that's going to make you insane in here in terms of how things go. And so I'm going to run a few scenarios here before I get into the article. See if this hits home, okay? How many of you guys that have been married or live with your girlfriend had situations where, let's just say, the house needs to be cleaned? You're going to have company over for the weekend. Maybe it's her family, maybe it's yours, and she wants you to help clean the house. So you're a good guy. You want to help out because, you're reasonable. And so you start to help clean the house. But no matter what you do, it's not good enough in her eyes. Because for a guy, let's just say in our eyes, our view, the house could be good in terms of being clean, say like right here. But in her mind, she wants the house to be cleaned right here. Okay? And no matter what you do, it's not good enough for her. And she gets mad. And she gets mad because she thinks that you don't care, you're not working as hard towards it, or whatever. You're not taking her feelings into account. And therefore, she's going to complain, as in this article, about the emotional labor. The emotional labor, the emotional turmoil you're causing her because, she has to step in and finish off because you couldn't do it right. Even though in your mind, hey, the house looks pretty clean to me. But no. She wants it so literally you could eat off the ground, or the carpet, or the tiles in the kitchen. See what I mean? Sound familiar? Or let's just say you're going on vacation and each of you got a suitcase and you pack it up in a way because it's no big deal. Typical guy doesn't need a whole lot of stuff, but she's packed a suitcase so full it's like she's going to take a one-way trip to Mars. And she doesn't like the way you packed your suitcase. So she wants you to come over and rearrange things in a better way, put the shoes in a certain position, fold up your clothes in a certain way, or whatever it happens to be, to ultimately so she can put more of her crap in your suitcase. And she doesn't like the way you do it. Okay, you're not trying hard enough. And what happens? Eventually, you're like, you know what? After a few incidents like this, I'm not even going to bother packing anymore because no matter what, she's going to give me a hard time or she's going to rearrange it anyway. And just like the cleaning, it's not going to be enough. So I'm not going to pack anything. Let her do it. Or with the cleaning, no matter what I do, it ain't good enough for her. Let her do it. Or you're going away on a vacation for the weekend and you got to pack up the car with tons of stuff, maybe your stuff, the kids' stuff, who knows. And she doesn't like how you packed up the car, okay? She thinks it should be rearranged in a certain way, in her view. Again, you're taking the time to help, but it's not enough for her. So she comes out and takes all the crap out of the car and rearranges everything, right? So again, the guy thinks, why should I even bother? Because no matter what I do, it's not good enough for her. He really wants to help. Does this hit home? So basically what happens is that she's mad because the guy doesn't do these things to her standards. So she has the emotional turmoil, which is going to be brought up in this article. Or she's mad because the guy just says, no sense even bothering, no sense in trying, because no matter what, there's going to be conflict and drama, and I don't have time for that bullshit. And she's mad about that. You can't win. Does this sound familiar, guys? Okay? So for you young guys that are thinking about one day moving in with your girl or getting married, mark my words, this is some of the crap you can expect, okay? And it's ridiculous because these guys want to help. I've lived with girlfriends. I know what this is like, and I've wanted to help. But at the end of the day, I could not meet the impossibly high standards. And this article, this one writing this, is making us out to be the villains, the bad guys. It's absurd. So I'm going to go through this here, guys. Now you see where I'm coming from, and you're going to see what exactly I'm talking about with regards to her and her perspective here. So it starts off, just let me do it. I can't count the number of times I've said this to my husband. While he was dressing one of our children, shrinking my favorite sweater in the laundry, doing our daughter's hair, making a to-do list at birthday party, rescheduling the vet appointment for the umpteenth time because he wouldn't look at what's on the family calendar. So right there, we're one paragraph into this article, and she is bashing her husband. She's making him out to be an idiot, making him out to be lazy, making him out not to care. Meanwhile, he is doing some of his things. Guys operate differently, okay? And let me just say this here also. I got to make this point clear in the beginning. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. And women had their strengths and their weaknesses, and men had their strengths and weaknesses. And we have different levels in terms of things of importance, okay? Women naturally are great multitaskers. They're great attention to detail, and I think that's something to be commended for. I think that's awesome. So it kind of makes sense that women should stick to things in terms of tasks and chores and household duties that will play to their strengths. They can do with ease in terms of, without a whole lot of work because it's natural. And men should do certain things that play to their strengths. A lot of people, when it comes to these household duties and things, they'll say if, a guy says a woman should do what is women's work and a guy does what's men's work, that's sexist. Well, first of all, I don't care. And second of all, why not? If it plays to their strengths, saves a whole lot of drama. For instance, if she's great at remembering birth dates, people's birthdays and anniversaries and stuff, let her be in charge of sending the birthday cards and sending the birthday presents and all that crap. Don't leave it to the guy. He's not going to remember. On the other hand, if you got 2 feet of snow, that guy can be out there shoveling the snow, cleaning up the snow, getting the cars ready, the driveway and everything, because that will play to his strength. He won't mind doing that. Or things like cleaning. Really crazy cleaning. If no matter what, her idea of things being cleaner this high, let her do it, okay? That guy can go out on the 95-degree day and mow the lawn because he'll be cool with that. She's not going to want to do that. She's not going to want to shovel the snow when it's 10 degrees outside and you got 2 feet of snow outside. Or she's not going to want to haul the 50-pound air conditioner out of the basement to install on the wall once summer arrives. Play to the strengths instead of this bullshit. She goes on, this isn't necessarily the reaction I want to have. As someone who writes often about emotional labor, here we go. Guys, this is going to become a drinking game. How many times you're going to hear emotional labor throughout this article. I advocate for everyone to step up and do this type of work. I believe wholeheartedly that we need to shift the balance in the invisible mental and emotional load women most often carry. Keeping track of the schedules, tuning into the emotions of those around them, noticing and delegating or doing household work in a way that keeps everyone comfortable and happy. Household work that keeps everybody comfortable and happy. What she really means is what keeps her comfortable and happy. The guy, don't get me wrong, there are guys that are slobs, but there are also women that are slobs. But your average guy would like the house clean, but his idea of clean, like I said, is here, but her idea of clean is up here. So I would say the guy does the point where he's here, but anything beyond that, she can do. But it can sometimes be hard for women to give up this work, and men often use women's just let me do it resistance as an excuse not to try. At a family dinner, my great uncle, loud-spoken and self-assured, pointed out to me a time years prior when he decided to put the emotional labor of booking flights for himself and my great aunt, only to be met with anger because he had done it wrong. I hear this argument a lot. It's not that men can't or won't do this work, it's just they are chided when they try. The men at the table nod along, citing dishwashers loaded incorrectly, the kids they dress perfectly fine, but not perfectly, all the times they had heard the phrase, just let me do it. Good enough is never good enough for women. It's always our way or the highway. To them, we're not just nags, were control freaks too. Guys, does any of that ring a bell? It sure does to me. You know, her whole family there, they had to talk around the table she's talked about. And the guys are laying out these things, very reasonable things. And you would think that maybe she would think that, you know what, maybe because my loved ones, the men in my family are saying this, I'll listen a little more, try to take that into perspective. Do you think that she does that? No. No. Whenever I speak on the topic of emotional labor, interviewers and audience members almost always ask about women's need for control. We don't have to micromanage. Things don't have to be done our way. Who is she kidding here? Come on. We could, and the questionnaire usually implies we should, let some things go. Maybe if we gave our partners more room to explore emotional labor, we wouldn't be stuck shouldering it all the time. Maybe we are standing in our own way by demanding unreasonably high standards. I talk a lot about how men need to show up for their lives and tune in to emotional labor, but men retort, what about all the times women haven't let them get past the gate? What about that? Well, in her complaining about emotional labor, and I think I've said this about 6 times at this point, you know, if a woman is getting all worked up about things like that, you know, like things aren't being done in her way and things like that, who's to blame? Who's to blame for allowing oneself to get so worked up and obsess about it and stressed and agonizing over, you know, the carpet not being clean enough, or the daughter's hair not being straightened enough, or the laundry being done a certain way? Who's that really on? Who's being kind of psycho about these different tasks? Don't blame the guy, blame you. You're the one that gets so worked up. The guy, be happy you got a guy that at least initially wants to help out. Because most guys, I'll be honest here, guys, if you're going to do relationships, if you're going to be married, I tell you not to do it, but if you're going to do it, you know, definitely it's reasonable to help out, as long as you're not being given a hard time about it. You know, I got no problem, back in the day, no problem cooking and cleaning and grocery shopping and things like that. I got no problem with it. I enjoy a lot of those things, to be honest with you. But I'm going to do it at a level where, at least in the past, when I've lived with women, girlfriends, to the point where I'm happy with it. And then beyond that, she can do. Maternal gatekeeping, the act of standing between men and their ability to become full and equal partners by micromanaging or bulldozing their efforts, is often used by men as an excuse for why they don't take on more domestic labor. Women, some men believe, just won't give up control, who have exacting standards they think the men in their lives can't follow. In truth, there are more nuanced reasons why women engage in maternal gatekeeping. The term, technically applied only to women with children, but women can exhibit the behavior in households without them. From childhood, women are bombarded with cultural messaging that tells us we are the only ones qualified for this work. We're told in ways both overt and subtle that emotional labor is our birthright. We're naturally more in tune with our emotional side. We're naturally more organized. We're naturally better at keeping a household running. We're naturally better at keeping a household running, planning holidays, arranging childcare, noticing the details. We're natural nurturers, and if we're not, we're less woman than the next. Though none of these assertions are scientifically true, our culture reinforces them as fact, and this prophecy becomes self-fulfilling as you grow up and take on adult loads of responsibility. Well, I'm going to stop here, and when she says that it's not scientifically true, and it's just that women are conditioned for this, bullshit. Okay, and again, this is a compliment to women in the sense that, yes, they are naturally great multitaskers. They're great with attention to detail and remembering things like this. So play to your strengths. Let women do a lot of these things. Your average guy is not going to remember all the birthdays, or to remember the birthdays of all the nieces and nephews and kids in the family to send a card or a birthday present. Not a chance in hell. Your average guy is not going to notice all the little details. He's not going to be able to multitask as much. It's just not our thing, okay? But it doesn't make us the root of all evil, and it's not a bad thing that she, can do these things. It just makes more sense, honestly. In regards to the whole nurturing thing, feminine energy is, in fact, about nurturing and caring and all that, okay? Masculine energy is not. That's more purpose-driven and things like that, okay? So again, play to things that your strong points. There's nothing wrong with that. But We all know darn well, thanks to the you-know-what movement, feminism, that tells women in this day and age that you shouldn't be doing the household chores and things like that. That the guy should be able to do those things and blah blah blah. And I don't mind the guy helping out, but making it that they shouldn't have to do any of that anymore or things like that. Come on here. Goes on. We get it in our heads early that we are better at emotional labor, and over time, and with endless practice, this becomes true. We tend to figure out the best way to care for those around us, the best way to keep everything running smoothly. It's not usually a matter of maintaining control, it's that we have, by trial and error, found a particular way of doing things that works best. We don't get broken wine glasses when the dishwasher is loaded correctly. We don't deal with a kid's meltdown over a dirty school uniform when laundry is done on our schedule. We don't have a 6-hour layover in Acapulco that steals our first vacation day when we examine the flight itinerary before booking. Looking at you, Uncle Chuck. So she's got to stick it at the guy. Guys can do all these things. Guys can book plane tickets. Guys can do all this stuff like that. Am I saying that there aren't guys that can be completely like boneheaded and airheaded with some things and not think things through? Yes, but believe me, most guys can handle things just fine without the wife telling them how to pack the suitcase, how to load the car, how to clean the house, how to cook this, how to do laundry. Okay, in regards to the whole laundry thing, if she has special things that need to be washed a certain way or dried a certain way, I have an idea. She puts that stuff in a separate pile and she handles it. But the stuff that just can run on regular wash, regular drying, anybody can do that. The special stuff that needs extra work and details, your average guy's not going to remember that. Don't give him a hard time about it. That's just how we are. If you don't like that, then you shouldn't have been with a guy in the first place. If you're not the one dealing with the fallout, the attention to detail involved in emotional labor, there we go again, looks unreasonable, perfectionist, controlling. But in conversations with hundreds of women about their experience with emotional labor, I've found this is rarely the case. When we say, just let me do it, what we're really saying is, I don't want to be let down again. Let down again from their psychotically impossible high standards. Lower the standards. Stop letting yourself get so worked up with the emotional labor, and you won't have as many problems. But then again, maybe some of these gals like to complain. Most women can easily recall a time when her partner let her down. More and more men bashing. Who would have thought? When her standards were deemed unnecessary and consequently ignored. If we do hold the reins too tightly, it's usually because we're protecting ourselves from the fallout of a job done poorly or not done at all. Maternal gatekeeping is rarely where the problem of emotional labor imbalances stems from. It's far more likely to be a symptom of an already imbalanced partnership. So how can we move past maternal gatekeeping into a more healthy, collaborative partnership? I don't believe women need to let it go in order to achieve balance. Developing a set of shared standards for how partners are going to show up for their shared lives, the shared life needs to be based on what is going on to best benefit both parties and the rest of the family if applicable. This requires an open conversation that goes beyond, if you want it done your way, do it yourself. I think most men need to step up to meet women where they are, as women examine what truly serves them and where there is room for reasonable compromise. So she's talked about that men need to step up, okay? Well, I'm not hearing anything, and guess what? You're not going to hear anything about things that they can do to help make the situation a little more balanced and fair for both parties. All I'm hearing here is knocking guys, trashing guys, we're the villains, we're not stepping up, blah, blah, blah. And of course, as if she hasn't mentioned enough, the emotional labor here. What can they do? I have an idea. Cool the hell off. Stop setting these impossibly high standards. The world will not come to an end if the cleaning isn't done in your way. The world will not end if the suitcase is not packed in your way, and so forth. That means both partners practicing self-awareness, and for men in particular, an awareness of how their partner keeps things running smoothly. Showing up to do the physical work is not enough. You must also tune into the emotional labor it takes to do it in a way that keeps everyone's best interest in mind. When she says everyone's best interest in mind, what she really means is her best interest in mind. If your efforts are met with frustration or let me do it, ask for feedback rather than tuning out the job forever. Men can open up the conversation too. It's not a one-way street. It is a one-way street. The street is her way or the highway. That's the street. We have to meet in a place that makes sense for everybody. Balance doesn't mean a 50-50 split. It means both people showing up to do 100% of the emotional labor. Back to the emotional labor. So guys, what you heard here is just a whole article of complaining, bashing men. We want you to step up and do everything our way. Okay? Don't say, okay, don't not do it. Don't just give it from the chores because we have psychotically high standards because we have to do all this emotional labor. No. At the end of the day, guys, this is what you can expect. I'm telling you right now. That's why I'm doing this article, aside from the fact that it's funny. You're going to be moving with a girl, and I've told you, I've done videos on this. I've mentioned it plenty of times, not to move in with your girlfriend because of the crap you're getting involved in. There's another one. You're going to get this kind of crap. And if you're going to get married, and I tell you not to do it in this day and age, every great once in a while, there's a marriage that can actually work, and both parties have good communication, and they're attracted to each other. And there are some good women in this world, but believe me, here in the West, it's becoming far and far less each day. The narcissism is through the roof, amongst the many other things. This is the crap you can expect. Does this sound very appealing to you? Because as a guy who's very busy with his job and other things in his life, and for you guys watching me improving yourself and the self-improvement, the little time you have to relax, do you want to listen to this crap? Well, I'm telling you, it's in your future. I'm letting you know right here. So for the ladies that watch this, and generally a lot of ladies that watch my channel are a little more open-minded than most. I got some haters on here that purely watch me just to give me the thumbs down on the video and say some nasty crap. For the women here that are a little open-minded, keep this in mind, okay? Play to your strengths. If you're a guy, or your husband is not doing things in the way you want him to do, perhaps you have to rethink, just say, you know what? I'll do the chores and tasks that play to my strengths, and I'm going to let him do the things that play to his strengths, and I'm going to work on not getting, the emotional labor so high. I'm going to relax a little bit. It's not the end of the world if this isn't done this way or this isn't done that way. Life is short. There are way bigger things in this world to get so worked up and emotional about. Seriously. So anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.